Hi everyone, welcome or welcome back. My name is Emily and this is My Thrifty Kitchen. Today we have another $20 grocery budget challenge. So I have seen in the comments section some people being upset with creators using the word challenge, budget challenge, grocery budget challenge. Because they feel like it's insensitive to people that legitimately have to live on $20 for groceries. And that's fine. Everyone is allowed to have their own opinions about things. For me, this is my life. This is real life. I do have to create my grocery budget a little more in a curated way because of my YouTube channel, and I understand that. But the $20 is real for me right now. I only have $20 to make it through the next few days, and this is what I'm choosing to do with it. And that brings me to my next point, pantry staples. I'm using pantry staples. I'm using pantry ingredients. I'm using condiments. I'm using oils and fats because this is real life. I know that some people might call this cheating, and personally, I think that's hysterical because cheating at what? Like poverty? I mean, I'm not cosplaying being poor. This is my life. This is what I'm doing, and I feel like it's really disingenuous to consistently act like we are starting over from zero at every single video. Most people have more than oil, salt, and pepper in their kitchen. And there are, I'm sure, plenty of people that only have that or even have less. And there are creators that work from that standpoint all the time, and that's perfect. There's that resource for them. The purpose of my channel is to create real recipes in real kitchens for real people, real families that do have the basic necessities, because realistically, we do not buy spices and sugars and oil every single week. We just don't. And I don't think it's fair to the thousands and millions of people that every day have to make meals for their families on small budgets to include those things in the budget every single time. That's why I don't do that. That's why, unless I specifically state that I'm not using pantry ingredients, I will be using pantry ingredients. So from here on out, I will probably have a disclaimer in all of my videos about that, because for some reasons, people still have an issue with it. And if you do, this just might not be for you. That's totally fine. I don't take any offense. But if using pantry ingredients is okay with you, I really hope you guys stick around, because I think I have a lot of really good ideas this week. I did a $20 challenge a couple weeks ago and really stretched it as far as I could while still having some variety. And this week I wanted the meals to just be a little bit more realistic because food fatigue is real. And admittedly, a lot of these portions do come from some soup that I make a little bit closer to the end, but everything gets used except for a little bit of rice. I think some of these meals turned out really great, super delicious, good sized, realistic portions, and my family ate all of it. So let me show you what I picked up at Walmart and we will get into the recipes. All right, so here is everything I got at Walmart. So let's start in the back. The potatoes were $3.24. The rice was $3.34. I got some discount bread for 40 cents. My Walmart that's closer to my house doesn't actually sell it for 40 cents. I think it's more like 67 or something. But there's another one a little bit further away that always sells it for 40 cents. So I specifically drove to that one so I could see if I could get some. The chickpeas were 92 cents. The green beans and the corn were both 50 cents. I think they're on rollback for the holidays. The chili tomatoes were 92 cents. The cream of chicken soup was 70 cents. I got the crown of broccoli for 81 cents. The cucumber for 72. It was $1.17 for the baby carrots. The tomato was 17 cents. The navy beans were $1.28, and then lastly, I got the chicken drumsticks. I totaled everything up, and then based on what I had left, I got the biggest pack of chicken I could get. And then I also accounted for some weight differentiation for the tomato and the broccoli crown. So I did the best I could, which is why I ended up almost 20 cents short of $20, because I think the next price up was $5.80 something cents. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm gonna wash, sort, and cook my navy beans. And I'm also gonna prep and cook up all of these drumsticks. All right, so these are our beans. I cooked the entire pound, and I cooked these in my Instant Pot for 40 minutes with 2 tablespoons of chicken bouillon powder and a couple tablespoons of olive oil. So I'm gonna let these cool completely. I'm not using these for dinner tonight, but I am planning on using these for lunch tomorrow, and I need them cold. So that's why I got these done right away. And here is our chicken drumsticks. I'm putting half of these in the refrigerator. I'm gonna peel the meat off of half of these and put that in the fridge, and then the other half of them, I'm gonna cook them a little bit more and have them for dinner tonight. I just got back from picking up my daughter from dance class, and I've got a little bit of dinner prepped. So I'm gonna put these back in the oven for probably another half an hour. We like our drumsticks cooked really, really well. And this will be our first dinner using this $20. So I'm gonna get these in. I'm gonna put them in at 350 just until they start getting crispy. And then I might crank up the heat a little bit if our side dish is done before these are done. And then for our side, we're going to have some broccoli rice. So I'm gonna use all of this, stem and all. Put it in my little chopper because I want it to be smaller like the rice. I have 1.5 cups of rinsed rice. There's like a tablespoon and a half of just cheap margarine in here. So I'm gonna throw this, and I'm gonna throw this in there. Put some onion flakes in there. These I really like to have because they last forever, and so if I don't have onions, I can still get that flavor. A little bit of Italian seasoning. And then a tablespoon of chicken bouillon powder, tablespoon and a half. And I am going to let the rice toast up for a couple minutes with the broccoli before I add the water. Season this however you want. If you have some cheese, this would be delicious with some sharp cheddar cheese or something in it. You could just use salt and pepper if that's all you have. This would be great seasoned, kind of a Tex-Mex style. Like if you have a taco seasoning packet or something, you could put that in here and this would be really good. Not the whole thing, but just a couple teaspoons would be all you need. Or onion soup mix. That would be awesome in this. Now I've got 3 cups of water going in. This specifically is something I would prefer to use real chicken broth. I can chicken broth, so I usually have this on hand, but obviously the bouillon powder works just fine if that's all you have access to. I'm gonna stir this up, cover it, and let it cook. This should take about 20 minutes. This is almost done. So I cranked up the heat on the chicken just to give it some more color and crispiness while this is finishing up. It's just got a little bit more water to cook off. So I'm gonna leave the lid off of this, and then the chicken will be done and we will be ready for dinner. All right, so this is our first meal. My husband has 3 chicken legs and 2 pieces of bread. I just did some butter. I didn't toast it or anything. This one's mine, and then the kids. I'm counting this as 3 servings, 3 meals. And then here is our rice leftovers, which I will roll into lunch tomorrow. Lunch today is very, very simple. This is my can of drain and rinsed chickpeas. When I cooked my navy beans yesterday, I took out, I think this is about a half a cup, and I rinsed them off and stored them separately from all the other ones. I'm gonna add that in there. And then I chopped up my tomato and about 3/4 of my cucumber. This is how much I have left. I seeded it and chopped it up. I wanted everything to be similar size to the chickpeas. I'm gonna add this in here. And then I'm going to make a vinaigrette and have this be kind of a fresh veggie and bean salad that I'm gonna eat over rice. So I have a couple options. I've got some really basic Italian dressing I could use. I have the Olive Garden dupe from Aldi that I really like. I could use this. But if you have any herbs that you need to use up, I have some dill that is going bad. I used this in my sauce video a couple weeks back. If you haven't watched it, I definitely recommend it. I worked really hard on it. It's a really good resource if you like making sauces from scratch at all. I will link that down below for you if you want to go check that out. But I am going to use this up. So I'm just going to do a really, really basic vinaigrette with some herbs. You could also use dried herbs. You could just use basic Italian seasoning. Pretty much whatever you have. In terms of dressings, even like balsamic vinaigrette, Asian vinaigrette, something like that would be really, really good. I'm actually just going to use this bean container. A little olive oil. A little Dijon mustard. Some vinegar. Apple cider vinegar would work. Rice vinegar would work. I actually have some balsamic vinegar. I should make something with that because I have a whole jar of it and I never use it. And we're going to do some salt and pepper. I'm going to mix it up really, really well. Okay, mix this one. It does need a little bit more salt. And I also have like a tablespoon of Parmesan cheese, shaky cheese. So I'm gonna put that in there. Mix this up. And like I said, you do not need fresh herbs. You can use any salad dressing. You could use dried herbs. You could leave the herbs out and just make a really basic vinaigrette with oil and vinegar and some salt and pepper. But use up what you have. This is my rice I had left over from yesterday with the broccoli in it. I don't think I'm hungry enough for all of this rice with some of this. So I'm going to heat some of this up and serve it with this on top of it. And that's going to be my lunch for the next couple days. And I will just make more rice as I need it. Okay, I have a portion of rice that I heated up. We'll add some of this. I really like the cold salad with the warm rice. Kind of like a pasta salad situation going on here without the noodles. And that should be plenty for me for lunch. And I have this rice left over. I'll probably cook some more rice up to have with this tomorrow and for lunch the following day. This is gonna be, I'm thinking 2, but maybe 3 more lunches. We will see. I'll let you know. All right, so dinner tonight. First thing I'm doing is getting some rice started in my Instant Pot. This is 2 cups of rice with a little bit of salt and some oil. And then over here I have all the chicken. I pulled off the drumsticks and pulled out those tendon pieces. And I saved the bones here and all the juice from the baking tray yesterday. I'm gonna make some broth with this tomorrow. And I'm going to use half of this in dinner tonight. there's a decent amount in there. And then these are all of our beans except for the beans I used to make the bean and veggie salad that I started for lunch today. I just got a little bit of margarine in the pan here, and I'm gonna start shredding up that chicken into smaller pieces. When I was picking out which drumsticks to use for dinner last night, I picked all the smallest ones just because I knew that the actual amount of drumsticks, like the number of drumsticks that I was going to serve, was going to stay the same regardless of the size of them. But for this, I wanted as much volume of meat as I could get, so I saved the biggest ones and set those aside to pull the meat off the bones. So I'm just going to shred this up. I don't know, I might not even use half of it. I might just use more like a third of it. We'll see. But I'm going to do that and we'll be back. So this is the amount of chicken I put in. I did use a lot less than I thought. It's not a half, probably more like a third. And I'll do this one last piece. Alright, so this is how much chicken I have left. And this is how much I put in the pan. But this is what we're working with for dinner tonight. I'm going to put in a couple big scoops of beans, teaspoon of chili powder, paprika, little garlic powder, and some onion flakes. You don't need all of these individual seasonings. You can just as easily use a pre-mixed seasoning like Cajun or Creole seasoning, chili seasoning, anything that you have that will give this some extra flavor would be perfect. Adobo, I know I always say adobo, but that is a seasoning that a lot of people have. Badia Complete seasoning, I use that all the time, but I need to buy some more because Sam's Club didn't have it when I went a couple weeks ago, so I've got to go and pick some of that up. Otherwise, that's probably what I would be using in here. And I wasn't going to, but I am going to add a little bit of corn, maybe a quarter cup. That looks good. And then we are going to add this entire can of chili tomatoes. Actually, I think I'm going to blitz these tomatoes up a little bit so that they're smaller. All right, that's a little better. Go, and I'm just going to let this cook for about 5 minutes and let all those flavors combine. So you may have noticed that I didn't add any salt yet, and that is because I have 2 teaspoons of tomato chicken bouillon powder. Regular chicken stock would work with this, but I'm going to add this into this little mixture here and make it kind of a soup. And if you do not have bouillon powder, regular stock works fine, or just use water and make sure to add some extra salt and a little extra seasoning. I've got 3 more minutes on the rice, so I'm going to let this cook for 5 to 10 minutes, reduce down a little bit, and then we will be ready for dinner. And this is dinner tonight. I am probably going to mix the rice into the soup, I guess you would call it. And this is my husband's portion and 1 serving of leftovers. So this makes another 5 meals. Today I made some bone broth with those chicken bones. I made this in my Instant Pot for about 3 hours to get all of the flavor I could, because I wanted this to be really concentrated. And I have a pretty good amount of ingredients left when it comes to potatoes and rice, so I am going to use this with some more water and bouillon powder and make 2 pots of soup tomorrow, because it is really rainy and chilly out. Oh, great. It's been really rainy and chilly out the last few days, and I know it is going to be over the weekend, so I am going to make us some soup. So I have about half of my bag of potatoes here. They're washed, and I'm going to slice them as thin as I can, really. I don't have a mandolin, so I'm going to be doing this by hand. Make sure you have a sharp knife and your potatoes aren't slippery. But I'm just going to slice these really thin and soak them in water to get some of the excess starch off of them and make sure they don't turn brown, because it is going to take me a little bit of time to get these sliced. So I'm going to soak those in the water, and we'll be back when these are done. I think I have enough, so I'm not going to use this potato. So chicken, I still have this much left. I'm going to save a little bit of some chicken for one of the soups tomorrow. So let's do these little pieces, and I'll save this for the soup. This is like a drumstick and a half worth of meat. Not a lot, but it'll be fine. I'm just going to slice this up. And I'm gonna put like a third of a stick, so right around 2.5 tablespoons of, this is margarine. And I'm gonna soften this up in the microwave. Okay, and we are going to make the creamy sauce to put the potatoes and chicken together in this baking pan. And that's gonna be kind of our main tonight. So I'm gonna use some of this garlic, some minced onion, some Italian seasoning, pepper, about a teaspoon of chicken bouillon powder, and then this cream of chicken soup. I was originally going to use this for something else, so if I was to shop again, I would get cream of mushroom instead of the cream of chicken, but this will be fine. I'm gonna add some water. If you have milk, use milk. If you have cheese, definitely put some cheese in there. Does that look thick enough? I'll just put the rest in there. It was about 3/4 of a can of water. I'm gonna drain these, and then I'm gonna mix these two things together. I got a comment on one of my older videos. It said, as a European, why is your cream of chicken that color? Why is it that color? And honestly, I have no idea. I responded that I'm assuming it was the bouillon, like the chicken bouillon seasoning. I'm not sure. I usually make my own if I'm not doing one of these budget videos, so I'm not really sure, but I'm just going to mix this around really well, and I'm going to grease up this pan. If you want, you could kind of lay these in here nicer, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just shoving it in here. And if you can hear music really loudly in the background, that is my child watching Home Alone already because she is obsessed with Christmas movies. I do not have any aluminum foil right now, and I didn't realize I didn't have any aluminum foil. So I am just going to get a nice big sheet of parchment paper on here and kind of fold it over the top. I know it's not the same thing, but I don't really have much of a choice. I am going to put this in a 375-degree oven for probably 45 minutes, but I will let you know if it takes longer than that. So I still have quite a bit of beans. I was trying to figure out what to do with them. but I've got a little bit of barbecue sauce and I've got some bacon grease in my freezer. So we're gonna make some baked beans. Just gonna use a big scoop of bacon grease. If you have actual bacon, that would be better. All right, I've got my bacon grease melted, and I'm just gonna pour some of these in here. And remember, these were cooked in bouillon seasoning, so they do have a bit of flavor and a decent amount of salt. Okay, I'm gonna add pretty much all of this barbecue sauce. There's not a lot in here, so I might as well use it for this. Put a little water in there, shake it around. What? Okay. Are your stickers stuck? Okay. And that'll get most of that out of there. And then I'm also going to add a couple big tablespoons of brown sugar because we like our beans sweet with a little bit of saltiness, usually from bacon. And I could have sworn I had a bottle of liquid smoke somewhere, but I can't find it. So I am putting in this wood-fired garlic with hardwood smoked flavor, and we'll see what that does. And I am just going to cook this on medium low or so until a lot of that extra liquid has cooked out and this is thickened up. And onto another burner, I am making my can of green beans, tablespoon of margarine, minced onion, salt. And I'm just gonna throw this on the back burner until everything else is done. Okay, so this has been in on 375 for 40 minutes. It's not quite done yet, and there's still a lot of liquid in there, so I am going to keep the top off, crank up the temperature a little bit, and see if we can get some of this moisture cooked out. Okay. Just for a little color. All right, we are going in at 425 for another 20 minutes. Okay, so our beans are looking great. Our other beans are looking great. Our potatoes are looking great. So let's make a little garlic bread. I've still got a decent amount of this bread left. I've been storing it in the refrigerator since it was on its last leg when I bought it. So I put it in the fridge so it doesn't get moldy. It's still pretty hot here in Florida, so the humidity is really high with all the rain, and I didn't want it to go bad and waste it. So refrigerator it is. Got some margarine on there. I'm gonna put some garlic. Italian seasoning. And a little bitty dash of salt. And we'll put this in the mini oven with the potatoes. I just pulled this out of the oven. For not having cheese on it, it looks really delicious. I'm gonna let this sit for 10 minutes or so and set up, and then we will be ready to eat. This is everything. We've got our chicken and potato bake here, green beans, some garlic bread, and some baked beans. This all looks really good, and it's a lot of food. All right, this is everything plated up. These plates are really good size. As usual, I'm counting the kids together as one. This is a lot of food. It looks so delicious. It smells delicious. I am very excited to eat tonight. And there's still a decent amount of this left and a good amount of baked beans. Okay, so it has been a couple days since I went to the store. Thus far, I have made the drumsticks with the broccoli rice, and I made the chicken and potato bake last night with the baked beans and green beans. I made the bean salad, which I had over the last couple days for lunch. I did end up using 1.5 cups more of rice with that broccoli rice left over, and that's what I had for lunch. That was 4 meals for me. And then we had the chicken and white bean chili with rice. I know, lots of rice and beans thus far. So that was a pretty good portion of meals. And honestly, I wasn't expecting to get much more than that, like maybe one more meal. But I surprisingly have quite a bit of stuff left. So let me show you what I have left and kind of what I'm thinking about doing with all of it. Because I think I'm just going to make everything today and we can eat it over the next couple days. Okay, so I have chicken, corn, pretty good amount of beans, potatoes, a couple pounds of rice, all the stock that I made, that bit of cucumber, and I have all of the carrots yet. I knew I wasn't going to use a lot of these carrots in the meals, but 1 pound is the smallest amount that I could get, so this is what I got. I was planning on making 1 pot of soup with these, but I'm going to work on making 2 pots of soup instead. And this is obviously a lot of rice, but the next smallest that I could get was 2 pounds, and I really wanted more than 2 pounds because I knew we were going to use quite a bit of rice this week. So I'm probably going to have some of this left over, but I think everything else I'm pretty much going to use all of. And I do have a little bit of bread too that I'll make some garlic bread or something with just as a little bit more of a side, but let's get going. The first thing I'm going to do is make a really simple marinated carrot and cucumber. So I'm just doing vinegar and some sugar. And I'm gonna heat this up in the microwave until the sugar melts. I am going to peel out the seeds on the cucumber because I don't like all the gooey seeds. And then I'm just gonna cut this in sticks. We've got our really super simple marinade here. I'm gonna put these pieces of cucumber in there while it's still warm. And we're gonna cut up some carrots too. And I'm just gonna lightly salt this and mix it around. And then a lid, and this is gonna go in the fridge for a couple hours until I need to use it. Now I'm gonna get the soup started. I'm going to cut up all of these potatoes. I washed them but left the skin on. And I'm just going to cube these up pretty small. Cut off all the yucky bits. Thank you. It's so yummy. Thank you. Oh, thank you. So sweet. You're so sweet. I've got a bigger pot over here for the potatoes, so I'm just putting a little oil in there and the potatoes in. And a little salt, a little onion flakes, and some Italian seasoning. And these are just going to cook for a few minutes, get nice and soft, and I'm going to cut up some carrots to add to this. Okay, I've got most of the rest of the carrots coined up here. I'm just going to save the rest of them for my kids to snack on. Those are going in here, and then the others are going in this pan. Got some oil in here. This pan is getting the corn. This pan is getting the chicken. And then each of these are getting some beans. Arguably, these soups are going to be pretty similar, but that's okay because we only have a small amount of ingredients we're working with. But I'm trying to make the most of them. Just let all that cook down for a few minutes. And I'm just going to put some garlic and salt and pepper into both of these. Into my smaller pot, I'm going to add the lesser amount of chicken broth I have. It's probably a cup and a half of water and a teaspoon of bouillon powder just to season everything up. And once those carrots are cooked all the way through, we'll add the rice. Same thing over here. Add the chicken stock, a little bit of water, and a little bit of bouillon powder. Oh, Kaizen, thanks for putting a piece of cereal in here. That's definitely what I wanted. Okay, and then these are ready. I'm gonna let these both cook for a half an hour or so, and then I will come back and add rice to this one. And while the soups are cooking, I'm gonna find a use for these leftover potatoes. I kind of assumed I was going to use all of them in the soup, but there was just entirely too many. We're going to cut these really, really thin. And I'm just going to match stick these. And throw them in some water. We're going to soak out the excess starch and make sure they don't turn brown while I'm cutting up all the rest. Okay, this is the last little bit going in. And I'm just gonna let these soak for 10 minutes or so. And in the meantime, we're just gonna make up. You can also use brown sugar and heat it up so that it's melted in. And some red pepper flakes. I always have a ton of extra packets from when I get pizza slices at the cafe at Sam's. So I'm gonna use a couple of these. Mix that up. And I'm just gonna set this to the side with the potatoes and let all of those pepper flakes and honey and everything infuse together. Put a little vinegar in there, I think. Perfect. And then we will come back to this. I have 2.5 cups of rice. I'm going to cook 2 cups in the Instant Pot, and then this half a cup of rice is going into my smaller pot of soup. So we have our potatoes over here. I'm just getting all the extra water off of them. All I did was strain them. There's no salt or anything on these yet. So just get the extra moisture off and get some oil in a pan. I had to adjust my burners around a little bit. Here's our rice back here that's got about 5 minutes left on it, and our potato soup is over here. This is basically done, so I'm turning the heat off of that. And this is hot, so we are just gonna throw those potatoes in there. Just a teeny bit of salt to help cook out any of the excess water. Fry these for 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes. These have softened up just a tiny bit. I don't want them cooked all the way. Make sure the sauce is stirred up really well. And just add it on top and make some stir-fried potatoes. This is going to cook for about 10 minutes. Here we go. This is using up everything pretty much. I've got a little bit of rice here in the back, so I can roll this over into next week. It's maybe 1.5 pounds. We've got the potato and bean soup over here. It's got carrots and corn. I would assume this is about 5 servings. It's very full. And then the chicken and rice soup, 3 servings. Got bread to have toast on the side of the soups. Here is our lunch. Stir-fried potatoes and marinated veggies. This is just some rice seasoning on top. It's got sesame seeds, sliced up nori in there. It's very delicious. Here's the kids, and this is everything. This is the remainder of all our ingredients cooked off, and we'll just have soup as we need it over the next couple days.